Alright, y'all, welcome back to the channel. The Boston Celtics are going to the Eastern Conference Finals for the 5th time in the last 7 years. Thank God, bro. Thank God. I'm not gonna lie, throughout that whole entire first half, I was a little bit nervous. And speaking of that whole entire first half, we gotta talk about it, man, because it was chippy from the start. The Boston Celtics, they started off the game. They weren't really taking as many threes as I thought that they were gonna take, which in my personal opinion, I thought was a good thing because I do not like the way that they play their offense at all, because I am not a fan of the double-edged sword of the live and die by the three. I'm not a fan of it. However, they were still able to generate points, and on that defensive end, man, oh my God, I'm so glad that they went back to the double bigs for games 6 and 7, because that is exactly what this team is built on. After the Celtics got embarrassed in game 5, I actually made a video, but the audio messed up. But what I was saying in that video, I was like, the Boston Celtics are a defensive-minded team. Whether Mazzulla wants them to shoot as many threes as possible or not, this team was built to play defense. They needed to run those double bigs. In game 6, they came out, they ran double bigs, and game 7, they did the exact same thing, bro. Going into that second quarter, I was nervous, bro, because the defensive game plan for the Boston Celtics was basically to leave both corners open, and Tyrese Maxey and PJ Tucker were hitting every single shot. That right there scared the hell out of me, man. But then when we get to that second quarter, it was an all-out war, bro. It was a bloodbath, and I mean that figuratively and damn near literally, because James Harden on a fast break decided that he wanted to flail his arms and flop to try to get a damn foul, and he ended up knocking Jaylen Brown dead set in the nose, and Jaylen Brown was on the ground crying. He gets up, and the man is bleeding, gushing from the nose, bro. That whole entire play ended up being a flagrant one, but 2 possessions later, they're fighting for a loose ball, both James Harden and Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown ended up grabbing James Harden's jersey. Not gonna lie, that should have been a foul call. However, this nigga, Georges Niang, decides that he wants to take matters into his own hands because he's not getting any PT this game. He got like 3 minutes of playing time this game. He decided to take matters into his own hands and tried grabbing this man, Jaylen Brown, and Jaylen Brown pressed his ass. He ended up getting a tech, and so did Georges Niang. However, after that, the Boston Celtics defense did not stop. They did not take 1 second off from playing defense, and at that point, it was a feast. They came out in the second half and they showed the Philadelphia 76ers why they are a top 2 defense in the whole entire league. And on that offensive side, it was a one-man show basically the whole entire night. Jayson Tatum, a very, very up and down series for this man, Jayson Tatum. There were points where people were saying he was a top 10 player, and then there were times where people were saying that he's not a top 10 player, he's a fake superstar. And I'm not gonna lie, I might title this video Jayson Tatum is a real superstar, because I did see Rusty Buckets make a video saying Jayson Tatum was a fake superstar. I did watch it. I do understand what he was talking about, but low-key, I gotta troll. But this man, Jayson Tatum, 51 points. We just said that Steph Curry broke the most points in a Game 7 record. Jayson Tatum just broke that 2 weeks later. All that praise that Steph Curry was getting a couple weeks ago, Jayson Tatum needs to get the exact same love. The one thing that I can say about Tatum is that the way that he started today's game is completely different from how he started his game in games 1 through 6. Because in games 1 through 6, he would try to take as many threes as possible, and they just weren't falling at all. Then he tried to get to the rack, try to get a foul. It just wasn't working. But today, he started in and he worked his way out. That's exactly how Jayson Tatum always starts his games off. And it resulted in this man scoring 42 points in 3 quarters. This man was doing it all. Whatever you needed Jayson Tatum to do, he was going to do it. I'm talking isolation plays, drive-bys. He was getting it done in the paint, getting there at will. His touch around the rim was amazing. He was hitting his mid-ranges in the baseline, catch and shoot 3. Whatever you needed Jayson Tatum to do, he was right there executing. It was an absolute Jayson Tatum experience. Every single person got to watch it. Every single person got to experience it. It was an absolute Jayson Tatum masterclass, man, and I just can't stress it enough. Didn't even get to talk about his individual defense on the perimeter today, and his help defense was just absolutely amazing. His presence was felt, and another guy's presence that was felt was Robert Williams. From coming off the bench in games 1 through 5 to Joe Mazzulla finally making that adjustment by putting him in the starting lineup, and it worked wonders from the start. But the Boston Celtics, they got to worry about a white-hot Miami Heat for the third time in 4 years going into the Eastern Conference Finals. But now we got to talk about the losers. We got to talk about the damn Philadelphia 76ers, man, because I stayed quiet. I didn't make no videos. I saw James Harden's performance in Game 4. Trust me, we watched it. We saw it happen. I stayed quiet. I stayed silent. I didn't make a video. Playoff Harden came to play today. We didn't see no James Harden. James Harden was silent. He wasn't even playing tonight. Playoff Harden made his return tonight in Game 6 and in Game 7. It was disgusting work. And there was a point in time in this game where I was like, holy shit, James Harden's there. I believe he had like a step back in the middle of the game. I'm like, wow, James Harden actually showed up to play today, because I really did not feel his presence at all through the whole entire game. He had 9 points, 7 assists. He had 5 turnovers and shot 3 for 11 on the night. It was just an absolute disaster class from James Harden. It's really nasty because every single damn elimination game in the playoffs, James Harden goes absolute ghost. We saw this in 2015 when he went against the Golden State Warriors, had 12 turnovers, 12, and shot 2 for 11 on the night. We saw this in 2017. He got blocked by Manu Ginobili. Granted, he did have a good game in that game. In Game 6, how do you respond, James Harden? You come out and you shoot 2 for 11 and you get blown out with no Kawhi Leonard. We all know what happened in 2018. He was a no-show in 2022, and he's a no-show in 2023. How many times are we going to have the same old song and dance with James Harden, man? Honey Bun Harden, bro. Where the fuck were you tonight? And it's kind of hard to pinpoint who is to blame for this series loss for the Philadelphia 76ers, because you go into the season with 3 perennial playoff chokers who all have something to prove in James Harden, Doc Rivers, and Joel Embiid. It's hard to root for them, and it's hard to have faith in a team who has just shown you nothing but just inconsistency. We tried blaming Doc Rivers. We tried blaming James Harden. We tried blaming Ben Simmons. We tried blaming Jimmy Butler. We tried blaming Brett Brown. We tried blaming all these guys, but there is only one common denominator throughout every single one of these guys. Throughout the 10 years that this process has been going on, happy anniversary, by the way, there's one common denominator, and it's Joel Embiid. He was an absolute no-show tonight. The Boston Celtics defense was way too much for him, and he just absolutely folded when it mattered the most. 15 points, 8 rebounds, 3 turnovers, shot 5 for 18, and did not make 1 3 today. Joel Embiid, man, you were just not aggressive enough. This is the MVP, ladies and gentlemen. This is the MVP. I like Joel Embiid. Trust me. I like Joel Embiid. At this point, I just need to see the man get to the Eastern Conference Finals. And it sucks to say, because when we get to the playoffs, fuck the regular season. When we get to the playoffs, this is where stars become superstars. This is where good players are separated from great players. This is where MVPs make their mark. And Joel Embiid has yet to do that. At this point, Joel Embiid is 28, 29 years old. The window is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. How many times are we going to give this man the benefit of the doubt? I understand that he continues to get injured in the playoffs, but when the going gets tough, Joel Embiid vanishes. And you can say the same thing for James Harden, and you can say the same thing for Doc Rivers. But like I said, this is what happens when you play for an MVP and you do not play to win a championship. But to be honest, ladies and gentlemen, what is next for the Philadelphia 76ers? I don't know what's next for them. I think you move off from Doc Rivers. I'm pretty sure that that's what's going to happen. It should have happened last year. I was an advocate for saying keep Doc Rivers last year. And, not going to lie, sitting here saying that I was wrong. I do see a world where James Harden does re-sign with the Philadelphia 76ers. However, on the flip side, I do see a world where there's about 7 to 8 Houston strippers in this man's mentions, in his DMs, and in his messages, just asking him to come back to Houston. James Harden, you remember what the saying is, bro. It's titties over titles, bro. But I do believe that Doc Rivers is going to get fired, sadly, and I do think that they should probably bring in Monty Williams. However, there are many other coaches who have won a championship who are on the market right now. You got Nick Nurse, you got Coach Bud, which he's got his flaws. You could try to pry Ty Lue away from the Los Angeles Clippers, but I don't know how successful you're going to be in that. However, something's got to happen. Culture's got to change. Something's got to happen. I don't know what the hell the Philadelphia 76ers has got themselves into. Joel Embiid, make a fucking postseason run. Make a deep postseason run, because you can't do it to save your damn life, bro. Jayson Tatum, greatest player of all time. I'm out. I'll see y'all later.